Hi, everyone. Welcome to a very exciting edition of Words, Images, and Worlds. I am honored, delighted, inspired to be talking on this episode with author, illustrator, creator Raúl the Third. Raúl, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thank you so much, Jason. I am so happy to be here today.
Well, I'm glad to have you, and I always mention a couple of works at the beginning of these. The first book that I ever discovered that you worked on was the Lowrider series with Cathy Camper, and just love that series. I love the visual appeal of it. I love the way that the two of you created it. It's really wonderful. You also have books that are a little bit more in the younger reader space with Tag Team and Vamos. And then you have collaborated with one of my absolute favorite authors, Jason Reynolds, on the Stunt Boy series as well. So
That's
lots
correct.
of
That's going
creating.
with the Lowrider series, with the Lowrider series, we're going back a whole 10 years now.
Hmm.
And of course, the Vamos and the Stunt Boy series, that's pretty up to date now. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Um, and you're pretty prolific as well. You have several books and probably several on the way as well.
I do. Yes, I am rather prolific. I have been kept very busy by both Jason and my team at Versify. So I'm
Hmm.
very fortunate in that respect. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sensing that you are probably a comics fan, someone who appreciates the comics medium. So curious about what connected you with comics and art.
Yeah, well, if you could only see next to me, there's a stack of comic books. In front of me, there are graphic novels. Behind me, there are graphic novels. It was absolutely my entry into love of drawing
Hmm.
and artwork. It's all thanks to, I feel, the accessibility of the comic book as an artistic medium that kind of inspired me to try to pursue it myself. And it happened at a very young age. I think watching animated cartoons on television and not being able to pause my TV to
Hmm.
enjoy the drawings, and then one day walking into a convenience store and seeing these beautifully illustrated comic books and having uh a paused drawing that I could just drool over, and then more importantly uh use as a way to teach myself how to draw. So comic books are important to me for many reasons.
Love it, love it. As you're creating, I'm recognizing you have a sort of a luchador mask behind you, and thinking about the sort of science fiction aspects that you bring to a lot of what you work on. So I'm curious about the stories that inspire you and the things that you're drawn to.
Yeah, so the luchador mask that was actually gifted to me by my cousin Annette. She loves the El Toro and Friends series,
Hmm. Hmm.
and that is an El Toro and Friends. I mean, that's an El Toro luchador mask with that she commissioned a luchador mask maker to make for me. So I love that more than anything. And as for the stories that inspire me to work, well, I just finished working on a book titled Vamos, Let's Go Read. And there is a ride at the tail end of that book that the librarians have created as a way to introduce their young readers to genres. And I would say that there were so many genres that I was fascinated with as a young kid. And I think it was usually genres that were coupled with fascinating illustrations, so
Hmm.
mysteries and scary stories. I always think back to John Bellairs and Edward Gorey,
Hmm.
that pairing. Um, Science fiction via really kind of trippy covers. I always think back to like the paperbacks that I would find at used bookstores, like The Illustrated Man or uh, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. And then
Hmm. Hmm.
so it was a kind of a combination. If the drawings or the covers caught my eye, then I would be sucked right into the story. So yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head when you asked me about action with the luchadores and science fiction. Something about the way they were, uh, I guess, sold to us was what drew me into them.
Love it. Love it. And they're exciting stories. As I mentioned, they connect with readers. And early in our talk, I mentioned Stunt Boy. So I'm curious about how that collaboration came to be and what that's been like for you.
Yeah, I've been really lucky in my life, and that I always get interesting phone calls from people. First one, Cathy Camper wants me to collaborate with her on this amazing idea she has. A second amazing phone call was from Kwame Alexander
Hmm.
asking me if I'd ever written a picture book before, which led to the Vamos series. And then, of course, Jason Reynolds calls me and basically asks, "Hey, Raúl, do you know of any cartoonists who might be interested on collaborating with me on a project?" I had other artists in mind that might be interested in helping Jason develop a project, but the first artist that came to mind was myself, so I volunteered for it.
Love it. Love it. Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
and it was amazing, reading that first manuscript. He basically sent me a novella, a short novel, and immediately I had to begin thinking about how I would break this down into an illustrated novel. And being who I am, of course, I start bringing in all sorts of comic book elements into it, and a lot of my own life experiences. Like, I love that Portico Reeves draws while watching TV, which is
Hmm.
something that I did as a kid growing up. I love that he grew up in an apartment building, Skylight Gardens. I grew up in an apartment complex, Village Two apartments. So understanding that whole universe was, I feel, what really helped me to quickly, because it was a fast deadline, tap into the world of Portico and his friends.
Yeah, yeah, and it's fascinating. It's a really beautiful book, the way you bring it together and um, the way that you illustrate the words that are there and bring it to visual life is really wonderful.
Well,
Um,
thank you so much. It was a blast, and I look forward to. I know the second book ended with a to be continued, and
mhm.
so I am waiting with on pins and needles for that script to come to me so I could get to work on it.
And I'm waiting on pins and needles for the book, so it'll be a little bit longer for me than for you. Um, so I have one more official question, but before we do that, I also want to say about a third of my students speak Spanish primarily
Hola,
as
¿cómo
their first.
están? Ojalá estén bien.
And I love the way you use both English and Spanish, in addition to the visuals that are part of graphic novels and comics as well. So that's not a question, that's more of just a celebration of the work that you do across languages.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's just natural for me to include both Spanish and English, and of course the border culture in my books, because, well, I just so happen to have been born right on the frontera. Shout out to 915 El Paso, Texas. Juárez, ¿cómo están?
Yeah. Well, and I always know when I get your books, I have interesting work in language, interesting work in the illustrations, and it all comes together. So, by
Yeah.
means of a final question, and we can, of course, tag in anything that we might have missed as well. I'm curious about what currently has your attention creatively that you can talk about that's not other under NDA. I don't want Kwame Alexander coming and, knocking on your door as soon as he leaves
Yeah.
Colbert.
I have very loose lips, so I have sunk some ships in my past. But there are a few things that have been keeping me really busy. One, we just turned everything in, so it's on its way to be printed wherever it is that they're printing my books now. And that is going to be the fifth Vamos title, the 11th overall World of Vamos title, and it's a book titled Vamos, Let's Celebrate Halloween and Dia de los Muertos, which is basically the
Wonderful.
first Vamos holiday book. And it's also the first Vamos book that takes course over 3 days. Usually they take place over the course of one day. This one is 3 days, and it's because it's a celebration of Halloween one day, and then the two following days, which are Dia de los Muertos. And it was a very exciting book to illustrate, to write, and then to see how Elaine Bay, my
Hmm.
wife and colorist,
Hmm.
colored the book. And then number two are two graphic novels that are being published by Little Brown and Company. I'm being reunited with my original editor from the World of Vamos books. Her name is Margaret Ramo, and we're currently working on the Snips, books one and two. Book one is A Bad Buzz Day. Book two is Enter the Wig Maker. And it's a superhero book, but the superheroes are barbers, and basically every single adventure is hair centric with villains like uh, the unruly hair thing, the bad buzz boys, the wig maker, and we're gonna go on and on and on. So
Love it.
it's been
Love
fun.
it. Love the creative mashup there. It's looking
Yeah.
forward to that.
Yeah, imagine a barber pole jetpacks, sonic scissor jets, you know,
Nice.
scissor
Nice.
stilts.
And I'm imagining this rendered in your style as well, which makes it even better.
Yeah, it's gonna be wacky.
No, I know you do school visits, and I know that you have spots where readers connect. So anything that you want to share for listeners, by means of web spaces, social media presence, anything like that, where people can connect and reach out to you.
Yeah, so I just finished about a month's worth of school visits. These were all the Boston area schools. I had a great time. But I'm represented by the Authors Village. If anybody's interested and want me to come out to visit, authorsvillage.com. And then you can find me on social media, Instagram. I'm always posting drawings or photos or something along those lines. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Raúl the
Absolutely.
Third. Raúl the Third.
All right. Well, did we miss anything in the talk through before I say thank you one more time?
I don't think we did we? I had a great time though. That was fast.
I know it goes really quickly. It goes really
Yeah,
quickly, and great to hear about the work that is on the way and the things that have inspired you. And glad to have you back anytime.
I would love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.